Welcome to the Pay Yourself First podcast. My name is Chris Jolly, and I'm on a mission to financially empower millions of entrepreneurs. I want you to make and keep more money so that you can begin implementing and turbocharging a plan for creating financial freedom your way during the life cycle of your current business without spending a ton of time or becoming a professional investor. You see, most of the financial teachings out there are made for employees, not entrepreneurs. If you wouldn't listen to someone who doesn't have kids about parenting, why take business financial advice from someone without a business? Are you ready to break free of bad advice and follow the trail of other uncommon entrepreneurs so you can get from where you are now to the lifestyle you were aiming to create when you started your business? Then stick around. Here comes another episode of Pay Yourself First, where the only investment we offer is the one you make in yourself. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I'm very excited, as you know that I always am, because we have another amazing entrepreneur with us today. Her name is Alison Wheeler, and she is calling all the way in from Australia, where it's very early in the morning. Her business is Alison Wheeler Coaching. Alison, thanks so much for waking up early and jumping on the podcast today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Chris.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I know that we're going to have a really great conversation today. And just based upon some of the things we were talking about even before we started the interview, I know you're going to deliver a lot of value for the audience and for myself. So I'm just really excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Okay, now tell us, Alison, a little bit more about what kind of coaching it is that you do.
Absolutely. So I'm a 10X business coach, and I am also a Grant Cardone licensee as well. So I really basically help businesses scale, help businesses grow, and very passionate about helping service-based businesses, so people that actually want to help other people grow and scale their businesses quickly, because Chris, a lot of businesses are solopreneurs and a lot of businesses fail. And funnily enough, those statistical numbers are almost exactly the same. So that ability to be able to, at speed, grow your business so you don't burn yourself out is so important. So I'm very passionate about people building a business and an empire that can sustain and grow their lifestyle as well. So then they can implement the support and not do all the burnout stuff, because so many business owners run out of puff and they burn out, and they've got this great service inside of them. They've got so much that they can do and help other people with, and people deserve to hear that. They deserve to have that service. They deserve to have that voice.
Yeah, absolutely, Alison. That's really well put. You have a limited window of time while your business is operating, running well, and bringing money in to make it a grand slam success and put away some money for yourself in the process. So really being able to grow at speed, like you said, is so important. And I just love that you're Grant Cardone certified. We're big fans of him over here. Just happened to live not so far from where his home office is. Say we're probably a little bit biased, but I like the work that
It's always handy if you're in proximity, right?
Always. Yeah, absolutely. Now tell everybody else a little bit, because I know that I know, but for people who aren't as aware of Grant Cardone or 10X coaching, can you go into that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. He is the man that is on fire. He's labeled by Forbes magazine as the best social media marketer on the planet. And I would have to say, I don't know anyone who's doing anything like he is, to be honest. So he has created the 10X movement. And what that is basically helping people not just grow a business, helping people grow a successful business, scale a successful business, and have a successful life. Because as you probably know, Chris, and certainly from my experience, people can concentrate heavily on one area of their life, but everything else can fall down, and that success doesn't last because there's other areas lagging behind. So his philosophy is around a 10X life. So having everything in your life at that level going really well, because everything fuels everything. And so he teaches money mindset, he teaches sales, and he teaches marketing, business growth. Obviously, he's also real estate mogul as well. So there's a huge amount of businesses he has going on, but mainly his the thing he's super passionate about is helping people become financially free, and has the technology and the training to actually back that up with things like Cardone University, all of his ongoing courses as well. But really the 10X movement has just become phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me now, when somebody comes to you to get coaching, what does that coaching look like? What's the process like they're going to go through?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously there's the education piece, because for me, no matter what, we can only grow to the degree of our knowledge. Right. You cannot outgrow your knowledge, and you can't outgrow your own sense of self, your own personal belief system, your own self-esteem, your own self-perception. So for me, it's super important to, one, identify what someone wants. A lot of people can't answer that question. What do you want? What are your goals? So first and foremost, it's always identifying that and then putting in strategies in place. Well, make sure those goals are in alignment with their values as well, because otherwise it's great to want to be successful, but you really want to make sure that you're building success against the right wall, right? Against the right values, because otherwise you can get to the end of that success. And I've had this experience. You can create huge success, and then you're standing there and you're like, why do I still not feel happy? Why do I still not feel fulfilled? Something's wrong here. Is it's not built around your value system and what's really important to you. And then we work through strategy, right? And accountability. So put into strategic plan with the education piece around filling up all those knowledge gaps. And then it's accountability and implementation and going through that. And then we course correct depending on what's going on, what comes up, right? Like that accountability, mentorship, that accountability piece is huge, because a lot of business owners, a lot of people are working on their own, or you don't have the right support system, or you don't have the right people in your ear going, no, you can do this. What happened? Why didn't they follow through? What happened with that? And keeping that course, because we know no matter what, everything will try and take you off course. Life will try and take you off course to your goals, and keeping on course to your goals, Chris, can be very challenging, and particularly if you don't have the support system. So that's something that I think is a huge piece, being able to have someone who will absolutely champion your goals and hold you accountable to those. And a lot of people get help. A lot of people won't ask for help, right? Like, I'm sure you've seen that. I'm sure you've spoken to a lot of people as well. We wait till the bitter end, but if you implement that a lot earlier, you can skip that point where you're completely stuck and don't know what to do. So helping people to not get so bogged down.
Yeah, 100%. I think too many of us wait until it's an absolute emergency to go out and look for help. And then the remedy for that is always so much larger than if we had just gone while the problem was still very small.
Absolutely. Prevention, as they say, is easier than cure.
Yep, you got it. Okay, Alison, now tell me, this isn't what you were always doing. This is a new business for you. So share with the audience what you did before this and what the transition was like and what led you into this business.
Yeah, sure. I am an occupational therapist by profession, so that's my kind of original place. And so and then I transitioned into coaching, and then I moved away from that model specifically. And my husband started a network marketing business when I had my daughter, because he wanted to be more available and more at home. Great goals. And then when I had my daughter, I was like, oh, how do we do this new juggle thing? And it was really difficult to do the normal standard 9 to 5. I didn't want to raise her in daycare. So we needed to find a new model. I jumped on board with him with that business, and then eventually started running it and took it over, basically. I did that network marketing business for 13 years, reached the top of that company around the world, and built that to 7 figures. So did extremely well, particularly in network marketing, right? Because it's 98% of people fail. So did extremely well in that company. And then when COVID hit, things changed with that company. It was very evident that I was no longer in values alignment with the company or the direction that they wanted to head. So chose to move on and depart from that company. It wasn't an easy decision, because I've been doing it for a long time and had been successful, but I really wanted to go back to building something that was purely mine, right? That I had full control over, because that's what COVID showed me through that time, is I actually didn't have control over that. I didn't have control over the decision making or the direction. So to take that level of control back and really build something, like I said, I've talked about values alignment a lot, but to build something that was 100% in alignment with my values and what I think is important, and that can really go out and help people in that world that are on their purpose as well, and at the level that I want to. And that was and get really good results. And that's why. So that's where I've been, and that's where I am now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's so important, especially these days, to just do something that matters to you and that you are aligned to. I feel like there are still people who are happy to just do any kind of job and make money and go home and forget about it and do the same thing day after day. But especially after COVID, I think so many people have had the opportunity to reevaluate what it is they do with their time and what their purpose really is. And so I think that's led a lot of people to shift where they are in business.
Yeah, I think so. But and I still think too, if some people will build a side hustle and try and build it up that way, there's also nothing wrong with having a job, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And if that's what you need to do while you build this other thing, there's nothing wrong with that. We often vilify a job, but I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. But I do think if it's not your purpose in life, then you ideally would find something to build or some other way to express that, because in a business is a perfect expression, right? You cannot get, I don't think there is anything else on the planet that will give you more personal growth than running a business.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. And they say that a business is just a mirror of the business owner. And boy, if you run one long enough, you'll see how true that is.
100%.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, Alison, now I want to ask you a little bit about your journey to financial freedom. So, as you build up towards financial freedom yourself, what have you found to be some of the most useful practices and habits?
Yeah, so money discipline, watching your numbers. So a lot of, I think when I first started on the path, my husband and I could barely have a conversation about money. One of us would blow up, usually me. And I think I just didn't understand money. So it was such a painful conversation. It's, oh, do we have to talk about this? I don't want to know. Can't we just make it right? Because I felt like I was working hard and bringing in money, but then I felt like there was none. Like, where is it? Where is all this money that we're supposed to have? But we didn't have the discipline in place. And it wasn't like we were frivolous spenders, but we weren't minding our money, right? We weren't paying it attention. We weren't sitting there and going, okay, like now we have weekly financial meetings. We're monitoring that. Like we look at our numbers all of the time, personal finances, business finances, everything. And we discuss it. We discuss it as a family. My daughter's involved with that because she needs to know too. She's got a responsibility. So I think one of the biggest things is that I've learned is you need to be able to confront money. You need to be able to have a money conversation, and you need to be able to monitor money, because the thing is, I think when you start to put money, your figures down on paper, the black and white, right? It starts to take the emotion out of it, because you can't mess with what's on paper. You can, but it's easier to become very emotional when it's not in black and white. But the more you put it in black and white, the more emotion goes out of it, and then you can go, it's a black and white decision. All right, we're down, we're up. What are we going to do now to change that? And it's amazing when the simple process of just documenting your numbers, how much someone can change their financial situation just by that action alone. Right. So I think that's a huge one for me. And I always encourage people and anyone that I coach with is make sure you're monitoring your numbers, make sure you're documenting it, make sure you're having conversation. You cannot hide away from that, because if you want to have clients paying you, right, and paying you well, and you can't have a money conversation, that exchange is going to be a difficult one, because you're not going to be able to ask for that sort of money because you can't even confront your own. So that would be a major one.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, the things that you track are what grows. So if you want to grow your money and keep on track of your finances, you have to pay attention to those numbers, because they're not going to magically add themselves all up behind your back. If you don't know where the money's going in your business and your life, who else is going to know?
Exactly. You got to pay it attention, right? It's any relationship. If you neglect something, it goes away, right? Neglect a house for long enough, it falls down. Neglect a relationship for long enough, it goes away. You got to put energy into that relationship so that it grows.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so as you're growing towards financial freedom, I want you to imagine that you've now made it to that place, right? Let's say you have all the money coming in you could ever need to fund the lifestyle you dream of. You don't have to show up in the business except to do the things that you really love and want to do. What else are you going to do with your time then?
I couldn't not work because I love it. Like, I love working. It's a self-expression. So no matter what, I would still grow my business. That's part of my purpose. It's part of my passion. I think people deserve to find their voice, express themselves through business and be highly successful doing so. So I would still work. However, I think there's a huge amount of giving back. So I would have, for me, continuing to support philanthropic organizations that are important to me as well, that are out there really making a difference in changing the world for women particularly, and continuing to provide education, find their voice, and have equal opportunities. And one day, which I have actually done before, I've done a few random acts of kindness races where we've gone out and had groups of people going out and doing all these tasks and random acts of kindness. So at one point in the future, Chris, I will build that into a huge movement, because the Great Race, but with random acts of kindness. So that's on my radar.
I love it. I look forward to seeing and hearing more about that. It sounds like a really cool project, and you just got such a clear vision of what that impact is that you want to have in the world, which is one of the reasons I especially love talking to entrepreneurs. Very cool. All right. Now, I want you to imagine that your business is like a hose. And as we know, a hose can get a kink and then the water doesn't flow through it. So if you imagine the water is cash that comes into your business, what's the one kink in the hose of your business keeping more cash from flowing into it?
Good question. Scaling, the ability to scale quickly. And then the processes and procedures documented so that when you scale, as you implement staff, or as I implement stuff, like they can follow that exact process and procedure. So the headache, which is the part that I don't like it, right? I don't like doing all the admin and all of the process and procedure stuff. It's not my wheelhouse. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's necessary because scaling quickly. So then that side, it's okay, just put your big girl pants on and just get it done, because that's what you're going to have to do to get out the other side, because no one has all of that. Like, it's all in my head and it's no good in there. And it stops that. That is a huge part of the kink, is if it's all in your head, it's not helpful to anyone. So getting that out and documenting that, and then having that procedural thing, those procedural things in place. It also then helps from my perspective as a coach and as a person who's building, and well, you never stop building, having that. So you can, as a coach, also keep yourself accountable as a business owner, keep yourself accountable to your own procedures. And then you can, if something's not working, you can go back, well, what didn't we follow? Or do we need to modify that process and procedure? So documenting those successful actions so you can repeat them, hugely important. People don't repeat successful actions. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's not that fun for most people to make this documentation, write out those standard operating procedures. But if you want to build a business that's bigger than yourself, it's what's absolutely necessary. And if you want to see that, go look at any of the corporate businesses that have 1,000 locations, and go look at a mom and pop place with one or two.
Absolutely. Yes. Most people are hugely good at what they do, but that doesn't mean you have all the business acumen and the process and things in place. And that's where that side, that unsexy side of business, still has to be done.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very lucky because I geek out on doing that sort of thing. So I think that I lucked out in that way.
Dude, that's awesome, because not many people do.
Yep, 100%. Okay, now I want you to imagine I've given you a magic wand, and you can wave this magic wand, and by the end of the year, you can make any one thing happen inside of your business you want. What are you going to ask for?
By the end, within how long?
By the end of the year. So we've got
End of the year?
7
Yeah, all
months.
right. For me, it will be scaled to have 10 people on.
Awesome. You're very clear on that. So I look forward to you getting to that. That's the first step, is the clarity. So
It sure is.
awesome. Okay, now Alison, for anybody who wants to find out more about you and what you do, where's the best place they can go to do that?
Probably the easiest is to reach me on my Instagram handle. So it's at the Alison Wheeler, THE, and Alison with one L, ALISON, Wheeler.
Gotcha. Very good. Okay, Alison, now before I let you go, any parting words or a piece of advice to share with all the other entrepreneurs out there?
The only way that you can fail is to quit, but be smart. Great. Get a coach, get someone in your corner that will rally with you, rally for you, and champion you and help you become accountable to your goal, not to your business, but to your goal, because that is so important. And take everyone that's important along the ride with you so you don't leave them behind, because otherwise there's no point in building success if you're miserable in it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And it's so crucial, like you said, just to make sure you stick with it and don't give up, because it's a challenge, but the payout is always worth it at the end of the day, I feel like.
100%.
Amazing. Well, Alison, it's been such a blast having you on the podcast. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. I know you've shared a ton of value for the audience out there, and I have fun myself. So thanks so much again for taking the time out of your day and jumping on the show.
Thanks so much, Chris, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And to everybody else who's listening out there, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, I've asked you probably 500 times now, so please go ahead and do that. And go and leave us one of those 5-star reviews as well. It helps a ton to get the word out to other entrepreneurs. And if you are an awesome business owner like our guest Alison is, and you want to come be on the podcast, we'd love to talk to you as well. For that, you can go to pyfpodcast.com. That's the letters pyfpodcast.com, and we would love to chat with you over there. We will see you next time. Alison, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you've listened this far, chances are you're an entrepreneur looking to become more financially literate and create financial freedom for yourself from your business.
The Pay Yourself First podcast
is definitely here to help with that. My goal is to continue to share what I've learned about using your business as the tool to create financial freedom. But let's face it, it would take me years to share with you everything you need to know via these episodes. Creating financial freedom is something that most people never even consider, let alone make a plan for or take action towards. It's something almost no one was taught anything about. Doing it as an entrepreneur is even more challenging, especially without support. So if you're ready to get clear on what financial freedom looks like for you, come up with an action plan, and get the support systems and accountability you need, I invite you to consider the Abundantly Infinite Entrepreneur. I created the program to help entrepreneurs just like you get a handle on their personal and business finances and start building confidently towards financial freedom. And it's how you can discover ways to take 10 years off your retirement, add an extra 5 or 6 figures to your portfolio, and finally get clear on what numbers you should be tracking in your business and why. Together, we'll gain clarity around your financial goals and what being financially free would actually look like for you. Then we'll put together a customized game plan to get you there and the accountability to see you through. And by the way, you're also going to get all the spreadsheets you need to run your numbers, lifetime access to the materials, including any updates, and entry into our members-only community. In addition to all the knowledge, coaching, community, and systems that you need to create financial freedom from your business, you'll also receive a free financial assessment, a retirement planning session, and guided meditation aimed at helping you embody the feeling of true financial freedom. So yeah, you can just listen to the free content on these podcasts to help you move towards becoming a financially free entrepreneur. And sure, you'll likely see some results, or you can make the decision to commit to learning, implementing, and embodying what you need to know to create the financially free life you dreamed of when you started your business journey. Click the link in the show notes to answer a quick questionnaire, and you'll be on your way to joining the Abundantly Infinite Entrepreneur.